You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're going to be talking about negative thoughts. We all have them, right? It's those times when we feel like we made a mistake or we're going to fail, or somebody says something to us negatively and we take it to heart and we start to believe it. And those negative thoughts can really take us down. They can hold us back from thriving. So we want to focus on where in your life do you have negative thoughts that we need to get rid of, that we need to manage, handle, so that you can step forward in living your life full out. And I'll be taking your calls. Feel free to reach out to me at 800-333-0001. And if you need support on today's topic, because I realize that it's one thing to acknowledge that you're having these negative thoughts, but the how to get rid of them can be difficult. And I have a coaching practice. I handle these calls all the time. So feel free to reach out to me at connect@livingfullout.com, and I'll make sure that you get the resources that you need to be more positive and to, have confidence in knowing that you can manage these. Now, if you have an inspirational story, we would really enjoy hearing from you. We bring on inspirational guests each week that are meant to educate us, motivate us, and share their stories of how they overcame or survived an event in their life. So we would very much like to hear yours as well, and perhaps have you on the show as an inspirational guest. That email again is connect@livingfullout.com, and you'll want to stay with us because in our next segment we will be joined by today's inspirational guest, Shoshana Bennett, who's going to come on and talk about how she overcame postpartum depression but had suicidal thoughts and how she learned to manage them and be able to love her children in a very special way. So you don't want to miss that. Now, I am getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for calling in. How can we help you today?
Hi. So I was just wondering, how can I stay on track with my health goals this year?
What are those goals? Give me one or two goals that you have.
One goal is sticking to having a consistent routine at the gym. And then another one is eating more health-based foods and not as many packaged foods.
Got it. And you know what? I'm going to raise my hand, as I'm sure many are, because that is a common goal that so many of us have, right? Here's the thing.
Right.
We are creatures of habit. When we go in the gym, we go for the same piece of equipment every time, right? Or sometimes we have our routine. But that is what allows us to be stagnant, to plateau, to not really be able to move past get to where our goals are. So what you might want to do is when you go to the gym next, make an appointment with somebody at the gym who works there and really learn about the equipment. What are pieces of workout equipment there that you don't know? Just because you don't know how to use them or you've never used them before, you might walk right by something that could be just, wowing to you if you knew how to use it and provide you some variety. Have you ever considered doing that?
Yeah, I have. I've considered talking to one of the professional trainers at my school gym.
Perfect. Now, it doesn't mean that you absolutely have to buy a whole package of training. It's just one session, just so you can kind of get to know what's available. Now, what's held you back from doing that?
Just a matter of last semester, I had a lot of things going on, so I wasn't able to make it to the gym as often as I wished to. But this semester, I have a very workable schedule, so I've been planning on trying to get back on track.
So what would be a reasonable commitment for when you could do that?
Well, I don't have classes until 11 or 12 most days, so I'm planning on trying to keep to a schedule of going to the gym around 9 o'clock and getting in a half hour to an hour session each day.
Okay. Perfect. Now, do you think it's possible that this week you can call and make that appointment?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I narrow in on that appointment is because you want to take things out of theory, out of the ambiguous. It's still good to have a goal that you're going to go to the gym at 9 every day, but you also want to put in place when you're going to schedule that appointment so that you can bring that variety into your schedule. And then when we talk about the nutrition side of it, again, you might ask your gym if they have a nutritionist that you could speak to. Or what you might even do is find out if at your school there's a nutritionist that you can speak with. And you do want to find ways in which you can shake up those veggies, right? We all know we need the celery, the lettuce, the bell peppers, the cauliflower, the broccoli. And those are all great. Plus, excellent fruits for nutrition too. But you got to find ways to make them exciting. Maybe that's putting something with them that spices it up. Maybe it's having them with salsa. Maybe it's with some dressing that's not too fattening, but like an Italian dressing. And just finding ways in which you can incorporate them into maybe something that you would use with a crock pot, like a soup or, another sort of dish that you can make into like a casserole. Just finding different ways in which you can sneak in those goodies without making it feel like, oh gosh, another carrot, another celery. Mm-hmm. Have you been able to explore that?
Yeah, I'm vegetarian, so I already am pretty familiarized with different fruits and veggies, and my meals are pretty consistent with that. But sometimes I'll slip up, and a lot of times I slip up and I just get to-go food just because it's easier than trying to make my own.
Now, don't you think it's okay once in a while to have that?
No, once in a while it is. It's just I do it more often than I probably should.
Okay, well, the first step is to admit it. Okay, I gotcha. So from time to time, it's okay. And you know how you do that? You literally don't let yourself go down that aisle. If you go down the aisle in the grocery store where those packaged veggies and fruits and all that are, you're going to buy them because they're easy. And so you just have to keep yourself in the zone of the store where you're not going to do that. Also prepping the night before, or maybe, considering your foods for the week. The great thing is you've already conditioned yourself with your eating habits already, that it's just kind of a natural flow. It's really that discipline and holding to a schedule. But if you do that, I know you'll be well on your way with your goals. And the other thing I just want to touch on real fast before I let you go is, what are the thoughts that you say to yourself when you do slip, when you do eat more packaged foods, when you do find that you sleep in rather than going to the gym? What do you say to yourself?
What I say to myself is, did I mess up? Yes. But is it going to be okay, and will I get back on track the next day? Yeah.
Absolutely. So you just have to believe it. Sometimes we don't believe it. Sometimes we say it, but we don't believe it. And so I find that sometimes when I mess up, when I sleep in, when I do things that maybe aren't the most productive, I can say those words, and I've said them to myself, but it's another thing to actually believe them and go and look in yourself in the mirror and get excited, get yourself revved up, you know what I mean? And put together a vision board of the body you want to have, what you're going to be doing when you have it, all the fresh foods that you like, just as reminders for yourself as well. Okay? But we will be thinking of you and wishing you all the best with those endeavors. It's going to be good. Sounds yummy, and it sounds painful, yet, exciting at the same time.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you for calling in.
For sure.
And, I love that she asked that question, because when we talk about negative thoughts today, right, we're all going to have those times where we just feel like we let ourselves down. We made a goal, but we came short of it. And that's going to happen. It's going to happen today. It's going to happen tomorrow. It's inevitable, right? You just always want to do the best you can. The great thing about a new day is that it happens one after the other. There are some days that I have a really, really long day, and it's twisty and turny, and maybe more things go wrong than I do right. And I just say at the end of the day, you know what? I'm going to put myself to bed, and I'm going to start over tomorrow. And usually when I do wake up the next day, it's a fresh start. I can work out, at the time I want, I can eat the foods I want, and I can be as productive as I can. So I want you to turn that page in your chapter today, and I want you to have that fresh start. That's how you get out of the negative mindset into a positive one. It's just taking action, not letting your mind take you away to a place that's hard to get out of. So when we come back, we're going to be joined by Shoshana Bennett, talking about her story of postpartum depression. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us, and it's all about telling those negative thoughts, bye-bye, you have no place in my mind. Once you do that, you will be able to live your life full out. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about negative thoughts. We all have them, but how do we manage them? How do we put them in a place where they don't own our mind and control our actions? And so our inspirational guest today, Shoshana Bennett, is really a great example of how you can take negative thoughts and survive them. Not just survive them, but even get beyond them, control them, and put them in a place where they don't own your future, but you're able to learn from them and become a better version of you. And that is exactly what she did. So I'd like to welcome Shoshana Bennett to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
Absolutely. And I didn't want to give all your story away in that bio, but you really are just such a survivor. And you've gotten to that point due to what you went through with negative thoughts in your mind. And I want our audience to understand that so many women have gone through what you have, but it's not very talked about. And what that was postpartum depression. Can you first of all explain to our audience what that is?
You often see descriptions of it as brain disorder or mood or endocrine disorder. Postpartum depression can be caused by numerous factors, and it can be really different for the combination, I should say. It can be different for every single woman. I mean, there's certainly past trauma and can feed into it, poor support, poor social support. But it is definitely a clinical depression following the birth of a child. It can happen in pregnancy too. In my case, it was following the birth. I should say the births of each of my two children, and it was quite severe. These were suicidal depressions.
Right. And the thing is you're naturally a happy-go-lucky woman. I mean, you're the kind of gal pal that everybody wants, right? I would love to have multiple friends like you. But the thing is you got pregnant the first time like any other mother. You're studying your books, you're getting ready. And when the baby came, that really awesome day was not so great for you. It was a turning point of dark thoughts. Can you share with us about the birth?
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. When my baby was delivered, I immediately was very, very quick. Nancy, it doesn't always happen this way, but in my case, once that placenta was delivered, I dropped into a very scary place. I shouldn't have ever become a mother. I'm a horrible person. I'm a horrible woman. What is wrong with me? I'm inadequate. I'm deficient. Get me out of here. I can't do this. My baby deserves a better mother than I. It was immediate, and it got worse and worse and worse because there was no help. I was surrounded by ignorance and a lot of criticism.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when they put your baby girl, in your arms for the first time, you almost kind of had to pretend like you were into it.
You're absolutely right. I did. I said what I thought was expected of me. I said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here, honey." Looking directly at the baby. Inside, it was, "Get me out of here. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I'm not cut out to do this." So it was very, very different, what I was showing on the outside, because the shame was so intense that I thought I better be a good actress right now, or what are they going to think about me? It couldn't have been any worse than what I was thinking about myself, but still, I didn't want that judgment.
And I can only imagine the amount of energy and really conflict you had internally when you were at the hospital, because it's one thing if the baby is with all the other babies in the nursery and they come and they bring her to you and you maybe breastfeed and but then it goes back to the nursery. But knowing that eventually she was coming home with you and it was going to be you 24/7, what was that, almost countdown to going home like?
It was beyond overwhelming. I thought, if I can't handle it now, how will it be when I don't have all this support? And the nurses aren't coming home with me. And what if, I was thinking not only I can't do this, but I don't want to do this because the depression hits so fast. Sometimes, women will think, oh my gosh, this is such an awesome responsibility. How am I going to do it? These are normal kinds of worries. But I had really scary thoughts going on as well. I mean, there was postpartum OCD that hit me really quickly too. I had horrifying images of my hurting her or somebody else hurting her. It was way beyond the normal worries of a new mother. I really just wanted to escape. I stayed, and I didn't off myself through the years because I had a job to do, and I take my job seriously. But I was thinking, this will be a thankless, horrible job, being a mother, but I guess I'm stuck with it, and too bad for my child and eventually my children, but that they've got me instead of somebody else. But I'll do it the best way I can. But the thoughts, Nancy, were horrifying and so deeply despondent.
Was there a rational side of you that was almost like arguing with the side that was irrational? Like, what are you saying? Were you like talking out loud to yourself, having this conversation, or is the rational side not even there? Like she just disappeared?
There was really nothing but judgment coming at me. Here I had always wanted to have a child. Ever since I was 10 years old when I started babysitting, and I had been a special education teacher and I worked with children for many, many years, loved children. So it was shock, disappointment, dismay at myself, but there was the negative thoughts as you were talking about in the intro. They're so thick. My rational self wasn't accessible. The part that was talking to me the very, very most was just full of judgment, and that's about it. Because again, way back then, we're talking the early '80s. There was no good information. There was nothing I could access. There wasn't an internet either. I couldn't Google postpartum. So I had no idea what this was. I just got, people were looking at me oddly when I started to express some of what was going on in my mind. I wouldn't even tell my husband most of the thoughts I was having, but even a counselor I went to, a therapist, my OB, they would just dismiss it as, this is just normal stuff, or oh, you must have had a horrible childhood, and I didn't. I had a fine childhood. So I figured there was just no help for me. And so
how far we have come, thankfully, how far we have come, that you are standing up and being a voice for so many that go through it. And I want you to stay with us, Shoshana, because we have to go to a break. But everybody listening today, we are talking about negative thoughts. Again, we've all had them. And I think it's great how courageous Shoshana is to step up and actually discuss the thoughts that she had. And I want you to know that you are welcomed, and this is a safe place for you to bring your thoughts. So this is all about living full out, but also telling those negative thoughts. They have no place in our mind. We got to get rid of them, but we'll do it together. We'll be right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we have our inspirational guest, Shoshana Bennett. We're talking about negative thoughts, and she went through it having postpartum depression not once but twice. And so I'd very much like to welcome Shoshana back to the show, and we're going to explore her story a little further here. Shoshana, are you there?
I am.
Wonderful. And, again, thank you for being courageous and sharing all these different emotions that you are going through, because I think women need to hear it to know that they're okay, that I don't want to say that it's normal, but it does happen way more often than women say. It's really unreported.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you're right. It's not normal, but it's very common, just like you're saying. And I believe in being real. A lot of, after I'd speak, after an engagement, I'd get these people saying, you're so brave to talk about yourself. To me, it's just being real with each other. We're all in this together. It doesn't matter what our credentials are, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody can go through this. It's not a them and an us, right?
I'm with you, sister. Yep.
Yeah.
I am.
We're on the same page. Exactly.
we were sisters from different mothers, you and I. I get it. But here's the thing. I believe in support. You know, I look at the people in my life, and a lot of times they're my eyes when I can't see. But at that time in your life, you needed a lot of support, but you weren't getting it from your husband nor your mother-in-law. And really, your mother-in-law, that's what she did for a living, and helping people with postpartum depression. How did that work out?
Yeah, right. My mother-in-law was for 35 years. She had been a postpartum nurse, right? But again, I'm not blaming anybody because they didn't know. They weren't taught. There was no information or education. My therapist didn't have it. The OB didn't have it at that time. Right? It is still. I mean, we still have a long way to go. But back then, again, everybody was doing the best they could.
Well, so what was the relationship, though, between you and your husband? You know, did he have empathy for what you were going through and try to kind of pick up the pieces while you might have had a really hard day? Or was he just kind of expecting?
Right. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The pieces he was great at picking up were taking care of the children. He was very, very hands-on. Thank goodness they had a non-depressed parent, because it can make a big difference when both parents are depressed. But so on a physical level, he was taking care of stuff. He was taking care of them. He was doing the cleaning. He was doing the pieces that I couldn't do. I was so ill, and nobody knew what was happening. What he was not good at is helping me emotionally. Because, again, his mother, the nurse of 35 years, was just saying Shoshana is she's spoiled and she can't think about herself. It's all about the children now, and what is her problem? And so he was angry with me. He would step over. I don't mean to make him sound like a bad guy. He was a great guy, but he was just mad because he thought, why can't you be as happy as I can? What is your problem? You know, get it together. This is the happiest time in our life. What's wrong with you? So he'd step over my crumpled, crying body, but he'd be there for the children.
Well, and that's a good thing. However, you know, it's hard to hear that when you're already feeling so down. And when your daughter was growing up, at what point did you feel like you started to come out of the fog? Like you started to feel like the old Shoshana again? When did that start to come back?
Oh, I remember exactly when that was. She was 2.5. So I had missed the infancy and the toddlerhood of my daughter totally. It was just one big, horrible, scary nightmare. My hair started to curl again. I started to taste my food again, the way, and it all tasted like cardboard until then. And I started feeling much more like me. And
but it really took 2.5 years to get there.
I missed.
Wow.
I mean, my body was there, but that's about it. Yeah.
And during that 2.5 years, and we're not here to promote suicide by any stretch, but these negative thoughts had you highly considering ending it all and letting your husband and your daughter at the time just, that they'd be better without you. What were you thinking during that time? What were you planning, and what made you not do it?
It was totally irrational, of course, when I was thinking they'd be better off without me. They wouldn't miss me. He'd find another woman. They'd go on and be, my daughter would forget about me. I just thought everybody would be better off without me. And I was in pain. When we're in pain, we want the pain to stop. And at that point, I thought the only way to make the pain stop was to disappear. So there was one very, very close call after my daughter was born, a few months in, and another one after my son was born, my second born. The reason why I stayed, Nancy, I remember sitting there staring at pills, and I told myself, again, I have a job. It's going to be horrible. The rest of my life is going to be horrible. I mean, the distortion of my thinking. I don't mean to it was horrible back then. Looking at it now from this perspective, it's really hard to imagine having been there, but man, do I remember it. But I didn't. I stayed because, again, I was a mother, and it was an obligation. And
you had a job to do.
That's why I stayed.
Now, when you had your second pregnancy, your son, again, all excited, your daughter's going to have a brother, and, surely you're not going to have those same dark feelings again. But when you did, at some point, did you start to think, okay, I now I don't just have the responsibility of being a good mother, but what if I hurt them? what if I hurt myself? Because there's also that responsibility of self-care.
There's a huge responsibility of self-care. Yes, but I was very concerned that it would happen again because, again, at that time, nobody knew what it was. So I didn't have a plan of self-care the second time around. I didn't know what it was the first time around. So when I dropped into that same abyss, I thought, okay, this is it. I just really need to leave. I'm just a failure as a woman, as a mother, I shouldn't be here anymore. I don't think I'm answering your question though.
Well, you are. It's really just a matter of when you're back in that dark place again, having concerns that you might hurt your children, that you might hurt yourself.
Yes. I mean, with those,
there's that responsibility,
Absolutely. And again, new moms are often concerned because it's a huge responsibility taking care of these little beings that are totally dependent on you. But with the OCD, the postpartum OCD, and picturing horrific things happening, like I might throw my kid over the balcony, or I might drown them by accident, or I might throw them in the microwave and forget. I mean, these horrific things that go through your mind. It's not psychosis. I was not psychotic. But with OCD, there are those kinds of horrifying thoughts. So yes, you doubt yourself. You doubt that your children are safe with you. They are. With OCD, the children are safe with you. But I didn't know that. There was nobody there giving me information. So yeah.
So now that you know what you know, and I know you've really taken this on as a purposeful living for yourself and helping other women. When a woman gets to that place, is there medication she can take? Will exercise do it? I mean, because sleep is not always an option if you're breastfeeding, so that's not always the option. But what can somebody do if they're in that dark place?
Oh, there are. Well, first of all, if you know you're high risk, or I can help people know when they're high risk. Not that anybody's immune. There's all kinds of things they can do to prepare to get themselves all set up. Many of the things are good just for any new parent. And breastfeeding mothers can usually get longer chunks of sleep than they think they can, and I help them set that up as well. But sure, I mean, some exercise if it's possible. Medication can be often extremely useful. I happen to be a natural whenever possible therapist. There's also amazing supplements out there now that have the right kind of folate in there so the body can use it. There's a huge connection between low folate levels and depression. So there's no cookie cutter approach here for prevention or recovery, Nancy. So that's for every woman who contacts me, I'll help her put together a strategy, a plan of action to get herself on her feet as fast as possible.
So it's really going to be dependent on the person,
on many factors, on her beliefs, on what she's willing to do, how her body reacts, her support network.
Yeah, and if somebody is listening today, and it may be them who just had a baby and they're feeling these dark thoughts, or maybe a relative of someone in our audience, as a viewer, as a supporter, how could somebody have helped you back then?
You let them know it is not your fault. You tell her it's not your fault. You didn't cause this. This is not a weakness. This is nothing to be ashamed about. Let's find you the right kind of specialized help, and I'm right here with you all the way.
Wow, I love that. And, today we've been talking about negative thoughts, and we just have, a couple minutes left here. But if somebody is having negative thoughts like you had, what advice do you have for casting those away, if possible?
You can not only get your old self back, you can get a better self back. You're going for 100% or even a better 100%. We're going for full-on thriving. And it's very, very possible to do.
Well, and that is what it means to live full out. So I'd very much like to say thank you for coming back on and sharing with us, because, again, this is something that women don't talk about. So you do it courageously, and you speak it so well and so honest. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
It's always a pleasure, Nancy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for everybody listening today, I mean, she really laid out for us in detail some of those negative thoughts she was having. And perhaps you have your own, twisted in your eyes or your mind or your heart. how you see your life right now, or maybe that you failed or that you've made a mistake. And I want you to declare today that you're going to stop that you're going to get the support that you need to pull yourself out of what some people call a funk or a spiral. It is possible to get to the other side, but you got to let people know. People are not mind readers. They're not going to know that you're depressed, that you're sad, that you're having these negative thoughts. Tell one person today in taking that leap forward. That's how you live full out. That's how you bring control back into your life. So stay with us. We're going to be taking your calls. It's all about telling those negative thoughts. Move along, okay? Because you're living full out. You're not stagnant. You're all about thriving in life. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. And stay with us. We'll be coming right back after this break.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care.
sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When you're having negative thoughts, you always want to remember that that does not define you. What they're saying, if you feel you failed, if you've made a mistake, just turn the page, just start over. And if that's not going to do it and you need further support, turn to somebody in your life, tell them what's going on, be vulnerable, because it's going to be that helping hand that will get you to the other side.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us again. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out show. And today we've been talking about negative thoughts, and I realize that is a heavy topic. But we also share that experience. We've all been there. And I know even for myself, being legally blind, there's been a lot of times that I've kind of beat myself up thinking, Nancy, if you could just see this as I'm trying to look for something on the ground, or, if my computer, because I have special software that talks, if all of a sudden it stops talking, I'll say something to myself that is not positive, like, why can't I see and why did I have this condition? But what I have learned about having negative thoughts is just as quick as they come on, and they have the power to control us, so do our positive thoughts. And we have the ability to surround ourselves with positive people, listening to motivational songs or ebooks, or, just making sure that you're eating well, trying to get sleep, doing the things that will lift you up. We have that ability. So I want to make sure that as we close up today's show, that you consider what self-care you might need to do today to prepare yourself for the next time that you have a negative thought. Who can you turn to as your sounding board, as someone who will be empathetic, but also someone to help you find solutions? And making sure that you do things, habits in your day that support you being able to thrive and achieve those goals that you have for yourself. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie, and I just have a question. So
Absolutely.
I'm a student, and so it's the beginning of the semester, and I'm trying to get organized, but sometimes I really have a hard time managing my schedule because I have a hard time saying no to people to be involved in different opportunities and things that I really just don't have the time to take on. And so as a result, I get really stressed out. So I was just wondering if you have any advice or suggestions for how to say no to things without feeling guilty or bad.
And let me ask you a quick question. Have you done this recently where you said yes to something and you wished you said no?
Yes.
Okay. And I want you to keep that in your mind, what that was. If you had said no to that experience, would the whole world have fallen apart?
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay. If you had said no to that experience, not that you aren't an original and you're great as you are, Mackenzie, but is it possible that somebody else could have stepped in that spot?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the thing is when we feel compelled to say yes, a lot of times it's because we don't want to let people down, right? Mm-hmm. And we kind of have this superhero feeling like I'm the only one who can do it and I don't want to let them down. And it becomes so big, right? But it doesn't need to be that big. And so when you say to me, what can I do to stop saying yes so much? But saying yes also comes with saying no, right? If you say no, you might let them down. So you have to acknowledge both sides of it. Okay, let's talk about the no first, right? If you say no and you feel like you might let them down, well, one thing that you could try is help out to find someone else who could replace you. Mm-hmm. You know, if a friend says, hey, could you help me move? and it's on a Saturday and gosh, you'd love to, but you have a paper to get done, you could say, you know what, I would love to, but I just can't. But you know what? Let's see who can. How about so-and-so? Or what about so-and-so? Or you know what? I'm going to, call around. I can take like an hour. I can't work on Saturday with you, but I can take an hour today and see if I can find a moving company to help you. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's an hour of calling moving companies over a whole Saturday commitment. You see that?
Right.
So it's about not just saying no, but being a solution setter, finding a way for that person to achieve what they need to do, but necessarily not you being the person. Okay, real quickly, how about that yes, right? You say yes to something, immediately you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't said that. You know what? Stand by your word. When you commit to something, follow through. But remember that feeling. When you have that feeling of, I wish I hadn't said yes, always remember that feeling, right? So before you say yes, remember that feeling because you don't want to keep feeling it. And the last advice I'll give you on the yes front is it's okay to say, let me think about it, or I'll get back to you. I want you to practice this year giving yourself some space. You don't need to give an immediate answer. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much. That was very helpful.
You got it. Thank you so much for calling in and have a great day. And for everybody listening today, getting those negative thoughts out of your mind, that's our goal. Whether it's support of a friend, a family member, reaching out to us here at Living Full Out, whether it's getting, tools to help you, whether that be medication, motivation, whatever it is, take action today. Get to that positive place because it's all about living full out. Feel free to check us out by going to livingfullout.com if you want to hear this show again, or check us out on Alexa or go to your app store. Find the Living Full Out radio show. It's all about keeping you motivated, focused, and getting those negative thoughts out of our mind. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.